the real football this weekend is the Hall of Fame inductions that are going to take place. We will see Andre Johnson. He will speak last tomorrow as everyone is officially given their gold jackets. I saw a text from one of the top two fans of Paul Gallant as far as listeners go in Houston sports radio history. Ocho Texto and Stroh's fan I know are generally back and forth as far as that goes. Those are two people you should be following on Twitter. I'm biased. But Ocho texted this in, and it's the lyrics to a song called Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? And I'm going to sing this, okay?
I'm ready.
I will do the laundry if you pay all the bills. Where is my John Wayne? Where is my prairie song? Where is my happy ending? Where have all the Cowboys gone? And Andre Johnson was a Cowboy during a game against the Tennessee Titans back in the day, dealing frontier justice to Cortland Finnegan. Here is how it was called on CBS with Dan Fouts trying his best to not love the fight.
And Ward leaning forward. Flags come down. Oh, there's punching now.
Yeah, Finnegan and Andre Johnson going after it. Finnegan was mad about the previous play. He took a shot right away at Andre Johnson, and now they're going to be tossing Andre Johnson out of the game for sure. He'll get the thumb because he connected on a couple of haymakers on Finnegan. Wouldn't be surprised if Finnegan doesn't get an early shower, too.
There are personal foul penalties against both teams. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness after the play, number 80 of the offense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 31 of the defense. Both of those players are ejected. It'll be Tennessee's ball at the end of the run.
And that's the right decision. Toss them both out because of this action right here. Finnegan gets the first shot, then gets his helmet knocked off. He takes off Johnson, and now Johnson is going to get a couple of good shots in there, or bad shots, if you will. And they're both gone, as well they should be.
That's my favorite part is Fouts saying a couple of good shots. I mean, bad shots. They should be out of the game. Like, you could tell Dan Fouts appreciated the punching that Andre Johnson did there. And I got to say, the NRG Stadium reaction to that moment, I think it was Reliance Stadium at the time. Guys, Andre Johnson was ejected. Cheering for Cortland Finnegan being ejected, yeah, understandable, but they were both ejected from the game. I felt like the cheers afterwards, because Finnegan got ejected too, were not great. But that is the moment we're all going to remember Andre Johnson for. It's a shame that we don't remember him for like a Super Bowl victory or playoff wins, but that moment right there where he showed, like, this is a wide receiver who doesn't speak, isn't a diva, and can kick your ass. We need more wide receivers like that.
Yeah, it's like an all-time football fight too, because you just typically don't see both helmets come off, the big swings that are happening right there. It was a great fight. Like, Dan Fouts should have just gone into it.
One-sided fight. I don't know if it was a great fight.
It was pretty one-sided, yeah. But it was entertaining. Like, you don't see things like that in football games. Normally they keep their helmets on. There's a bunch of fake tough guys who get pulled apart from each other.
Shoving mostly.
Yeah, shoving mostly. Like, this was a full-out actual fight. And Dan Fouts, though, like, he should have just gone with it. Like, you got to start calling that thing like it's...
No. You got the suits of the Shadowy League figures.
That's
They're
boring.
Going to stop you.
That's boring. Just have some fun with it.
I think these days I wonder what would happen if Johnson would be suspended for a couple of games. But for all the kids out there, I mean, never get in a fight in a football field. But if you're going to get in a fight and you're going to throw a punch, rip the other guy's helmet off.
Yep.
So that way you won't break a bone in your hand.
It's one of my things I've never understood about football players is when they throw punches just face to face and someone's got a helmet on. I'm like, why? That's a bad idea.
If you're gonna use your hands, you should use the palm of your hand. And what you should do to really mess somebody up, if you're getting into a squabble with somebody on a football field, is what you want to do. And I'm sorry, I'm giving you some advice on how to be dirty, but as a dirty high school football player, what you do is you get your hand underneath and you want to shove up and you want to hit the underneath of their face mask, and their head will go back, and then you can get the second move in there. Okay, I'm teaching you mixed martial arts on the football field.
I mean, look, hey, this is a good thing to be teaching. It is summertime, so you never know who's listening right now.
That's true, and I hope the children are listening. This is how you properly brawl with somebody.
There's going to be a fight at like a local high school football game this year.
Paul Gallant said it was okay.
We're going to get a phone call and be like, your radio hosts are encouraging fighting.
I like your Karen voice there. Andre Johnson spoke about the fight with Chancellor Johnson of KPRC. I think there's an actual bigger package that might have been on KPRC already or will be at some point, but shout out to Chancellor for putting this thing together. Chancellor asked Andre about the fight. This is the most we've ever gotten from Andre talking about this fight, because generally if you're on like a CBS broadcast or an ESPN broadcast, they don't want you to ask about it. Mm-hmm. But Chancellor, I mean, he knows that that's a iconic moment in Andre Johnson's history. And Andre shared some things that I had never heard before with Chancellor.
People think that's just something that just happened out of the blue. That had been going on for probably about like 3 or 4 years. He had been asking for it though, because even his teammates knew. You know, his teammate even admitted in that, you know, that he karate chopped me under the pile. You know, tried to hit me in my throat one time. So there was a little stuff he did. He did it. It wasn't just me. It was other guys that he played against that he did stuff to too. So. I just wasn't the person who tolerated it.
When you get back to the locker room with your teammates, do you remember that conversation or what your guys were saying to you at the time?
Nobody really said much about it because they knew he was so the funniest thing was me and Vontae Leach, we went to the Rockets game that night.
Same night? Same night.
And I walked in and they gave me a standing ovation.
Well, I had heard that other receivers paid your fine. Is there any truth to that? That this was a league-wide thing and others donated to?
I don't know how that fine got paid. That's all I'll say.
I always loved Andre's laugh. It's deep. It's a good laugh. And that's pretty awesome that the other wide receivers around the NFL paid his fine for beating Cortland Finnegan's ass.
Cortland Finnegan was obnoxious, so I'm not surprised.
Hearing that he got karate chopped in the neck and that this was a 3 to 4 year buildup.
Yeah,
totally understand why Andre took it all out.
Yeah, like it probably, I'm surprised almost it took that long, like hearing the story, because like you said, like he never talks about this. Even like I think back to when it happened, I don't remember what the reaction was like either. When this happened, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are like, this doesn't belong in football.
Oh, especially then. I mean, we're talking like, what was it, 08, I think?
Yeah. So, it's cool to hear Andre go into detail about that story. And then Chancellor, like you said, he did a great job when Andre talks about the Rockets, when they go to the Rockets game and he gets a standing ovation. That's a great job by the fans.
They actually show the clip of the Rockets broadcast out there. And I think it was Bill Worrell. And I want to say that was Clyde Drexler who comes in at the end.
Probably.
Talking about how he was getting the standing ovation. That is
awesome. Well deserved.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that he went to a Rockets game later that day and he got that standing ovation afterwards.
Play clock is down to 1. Here comes the rush. Schaub steps up. Schaub throwing on the move, up in the air. It's caught by Johnson. Touchdown, Houston. What a play. A jump ball. Andre Johnson wins one-on-one matchups every time.
Play-by-play undersold that. So here's the context of that play, which is the greatest catch of Andre Johnson's career. 4th and 10 in week 2 against the Washington Redskins at the time. There's about 2:07 on the clock. The Texans had the 2 timeouts at the time, and it's 4th and 10. The Texans are maybe at Washington's 40-yard line or so. And Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson had a deep connection during these years where if you had either of them in fantasy football, you really appreciated them, while they might not have been appreciated in grander NFL circles. Schaub just throws it up. And in the end zone, Andre Johnson with Phillip Buchanan are next to each other, jostling for position. And there's also another guy who steps in there too. I believe, is his name Dowdy? Reed Dowdy, the other safety there. And as Andre catches this ball, Dowdy grabs his left arm. So he catches it, and Andre puts it in his right hand while Dowdy's trying to rip it away from his left hand. So the Texans score a touchdown there. They tie it up. It goes to overtime. They win in overtime, and they go to 2-0 in the season in 2010. A season that did not go very well for the Texans, and obviously it led to some changes the next year. But 2011, of course, the first year that they made the playoffs. That's his best catch. I think given the situation and how he did it with a guy draped all over him, look that one up if you've never seen it before. That is, I believe, the greatest highlight he ever had. Andre Johnson's getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame tomorrow. He will do his speech. He is the last person to speak. I think he'll be short, sweet, and to the point, as he's always been. Very much appreciated on my end. Whenever he speaks, the words really resonated. And there's too many wide receivers where it doesn't. There's too many wide receivers, blah, 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 blah. I mean, for example, Golden Domer, Chase Claypool. Remember when he said he was a top 3 wide receiver and he's probably been on 3 teams already in the course of what, like 5 years in the NFL, if not more?
Yeah.
There's so much yapping among wide receivers, which is why Andre Johnson is a rare breed. As far as his numbers, 1,062 career receptions, which is 11th. 14,185 receiving yards, also 11th. 70 touchdowns, which ranks 51st. He had 3 200-plus yard games. He had 1,500 yards receiving 3 times over 5 years. In 2008, 1,575. 2009, 1,569. 2012, 1,598. That year was the year that I got to see all of. Plus 1,407 in 2013, the very next year. And that was in a season where the Texans lost 14 straight games. So that's a lot of receiving yards. He led the league in receptions in 2006 with 103 and 115 in 2008. He led the league in receiving yards in 2008 and 2009 with those numbers I mentioned a little bit ago. We were going through some of his best games. You heard the Gus Gasm from his 11-catch, 207-yard, 1-touchdown performance against Tennessee in Week 15 of 2008. You also heard his walk-off touchdown if you've been listening to the show all afternoon. 14 catches, 273 yards, and a touchdown against the Jaguars. Week 9 of 2013, though, is the one that I remember perhaps more than any game because this was one of those crazy-ass games. This is while the Texans were in the midst of this 14-game losing streak to end their season after a 2-0 start. In this game, it was Case Keenum's second career start. And he had started the week before against the Kansas City Chiefs because Matt Schaub was injured. And I forget what he re-aggravated, but he wasn't able to play. And he actually was respectable against Kansas City. But this game against the Colts was drunk. This is, I think, 5 minutes into the game where Case Keenum finds a wide-open Andre Johnson downfield, as he was so good at doing, just sneaking behind the entire defense for a touchdown.
Ben Tate is now in as the running back. Runs a boot to the right side, wide open, and down the field goes Andre Johnson for his first touchdown in a long time.
That is a frustration a lot of people had, Joe. The guy didn't score enough touchdowns.
That's not his fault.
I know.
It's just not. I mean, it's so weird hearing Case Keenum, like the fact that he's on the Texans roster.
I know.
We watched him play.
Rookie.
We watched him play last night, and he threw touchdown passes to Andre Johnson, who's going to the Hall of Fame. Is crazy.
Joe, I remember talking about him on the radio in college. We had some random tangent, like a Syracuse-based talk show on a Saturday, talking about how Case Keenum was, like, I think in his 5th year of eligibility or something like that. Never did I think I would be talking about Case Keenum again on August 2nd, 2024. So they open up the game with that, and you're like, okay. Didn't know that Case Keenum had this in his bag, because a lot of us, that offseason, we were like, it's cool that Case Keenum's on the team, but those super diehard psychopathic Houston Cougars fans were all like, man, I really like this guy. He's got potential. He's a true underdog. So 1 touchdown, okay, that's fine. Not too long later, this happened. Again, Andre Johnson sneaks behind the defense, and Case Keenum finds him in the end zone.
2nd and 10. Fine time again. Keenum going deep, and it is caught! Andre Johnson again for the touchdown. Perfect pass over the head and arms of Antoine Bethea.
And that wasn't it. Keenum had another touchdown pass to Andre Johnson in the first half of this game. And everyone thought that the Texans had just found the next Tom Brady.
Oh, man.
Everyone was losing their minds. NRG Stadium, when it's loud there, it's loud. Everyone was losing their mind.
It's funny to think like a case like I for some reason I've been again sucked in these like YouTube rabbit holes, and Case Keenum keeps coming up in like trivia questions.
Yeah.
About like all his stats in college. He could ball. He balled out at U of H, and then it's funny to think I can only imagine what that would have been like. Like if we lived through now the Mills Mafia. I cannot imagine how those same people who were so diehard Mills Mafia were talking about Case Keenum back in the day.
I can tell you. So my friend Mike Meltzer, who used to work with me at the Texans flagship, Meltzer, and I talked for a little bit last night. It was great to catch up with him and a bunch of other Syracuse people. Shout out to Syracuse. I know I'm annoying with it. But there was a show that Meltzer was doing, and I think Patrick Creighton was filling in with him one day. And I remember I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and some caller called in. And I've only heard Mike like this once. Once I witnessed it in person where he yelled unbearable 12 times in a period of a minute.
My favorite moment in radio history.
That was where I knew. I was like, oh, damn, I guess this morning drive's upgrade might not be the upgrade I thought it was, going from nights to morning drive, where they both walked out of the studio, Mike and Seth, and I had to finish the segment. I was like, oh, great. I literally just got here. But the other time was while he was on with Patrick, some caller called in about Case Keenum, saying, like, Case Keenum's clearly, like, a great quarterback. What don't you see here? And Mike just drops like 6 GDs on this guy. Like, and I mean, there's a certain point where you can't press the dump button. And,
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I love Mike. He's so like analytical. He's so intelligent, and he gives you all these like facts like in a calm way. But when Mike goes ballistic, it was so scary. And I remember listening to that and laughing and then thinking, like, I hope that he doesn't get fired for this. And he didn't. He just had to apologize to everyone that asked about it on the text line. Oh. Sort of like writing your name on like a chalkboard.
That's a great punishment. That is an elite punishment.
It really was.
Like every time someone texts about it, you have to acknowledge it and then apologize for it. And it's so funny.
To bring it back, though, from Case Keenum to Andre Johnson. So he's 3 touchdowns to Andre Johnson in the first half of this game. And that wasn't even the craziest thing that happened in this game. Because Gary Kubiak had a stroke.
Oh.
Gary Kubiak had like a mini stroke in the middle of this game. We weren't even we thought he might have died.
Yeah.
And I remember like they just put a huge cloud over the air. It was probably the weirdest game I've ever gone to at NRG Stadium. I remember like we were looking out the back window. We could see the ambulance leaving. We were keeping tabs on it. We were checking in with the hospitals during the game and stuff. This was back when the NRG Stadium press boxes had like phones, there were landlines in there because you couldn't get cell service in there. So we were like calling and trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Wow. I didn't realize that was the same game.
Oh, yeah, it was all in one game.
I remember seeing that on TV when it happened, or just like on ESPN. That is one of the more probably strange experiences I would imagine anyone will have at like a football game.
Yeah.
Because like it's
the
like
coach looked like he passed away.
Yeah, like players get hurt and taken out in hospitals or in ambulances.
But a coach,
like
you never think about it. Yeah, I know. It is kind of sad that we're like so desensitized to like the players getting like off the field. Like Deontay Foreman the other day like got immobilized. And I guess he's doing better right now.
I say he might go back to practice even. Like it's
what crazy man. Well, I guess he's trying to keep his.
I guess it was just their protocols. Like whatever happened to him, and he hurt his neck, and it was just their protocol to take him out on the helicopter and be taken out of there. But yeah, it sounds like he's okay.